Welcome to eClerx Talks. As product launches become faster, channels multiply, and customer expectations keep rising, product data has moved from being a back office operational task to a real growth enabler. The challenge really now is not just having the right product information, but making sure it is accurate, enriched, consistent, and ready to support every digital touchpoint. To help us unpack this today, I'm pleased to welcome Raj, who is the VP of Product at eClerx, who brings deep expertise in helping retailers and brands manage the growing complexity of product data across digital commerce channels. Raj, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to have you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you just a few questions then. My first question for you today is, retailers and brands are under pressure to launch products faster across more digital channels. What are the biggest product challenges you're seeing right now in the industry, and why are they becoming harder to manage manually?
Yeah, that's a good question, Adam. You rightly said, while introducing that product data is no longer the back office asset. So absolutely correct. It's impossible to ignore that trend that's happened in the last decade or even more, where it's now become the customer experience asset. Now, years ago, people would publish with minimum data and would still expect conversion. That's not the true case today. And also today, companies are just not publishing the product data on one website. It's become omni-channel. So they are managing marketplaces, they are managing distribute networks, e-commerce websites, mobile apps, and other places as well. And data now is just not one data for every platform. Every platform has its own requirements, its own enrichment needs. So the complexity of sourcing that information or transforming that information for multiple channels is one of the challenges that we see today. The real challenge again today is that the product information that comes from the suppliers or the multiple different kind of sources that retailers or any other people get are in various formats. I can call it inconsistent formats, or I can say different formats. Sometimes the data models or the way the data is captured with manufacturers and suppliers are so different than how you capture or how you publish it on your website. The data sometimes is incomplete because it is not necessary that what you want on your website is being provided by your suppliers or by your manufacturers. So how do I manage that? There's also about transformation of the data. A lot of times the information that you receive from your suppliers or the various sources are not in a fashion that, or not in a way that can be directly published on on your website. Now, as I said, a few years ago, you could have done it with handful information. You found some information, you said, okay, this is good enough, and let's go and publish it. But today, the customers demand more. You need localized descriptions. You need content that is important for today's AUG or the AI search enablers. You need rich content. The customers expect information on the website. The trust comes from the product data. So all of this, is being managed by highly skilled product teams. Now, these teams have spent, and you'll be surprised, they spend a lot of time in chasing for missing information or fixing those spreadsheets, enriching those content. And these are such a manual task today. If you're doing it manually, it's very difficult. Now, if it was a handful of products, you could have done it. But if there are thousands of products that you're launching, you cannot scale it up. You cannot manage those products enrichment program with a manual effort. So these are a few challenges I do see in the projects that we work upon with our partners and clients, Adam.
That's great, Raj. And I know you are the product lead for Merchandiser Plus. So with that being said, how does Merchandiser Plus help teams improve product data quality, enrichment, and speed to market without adding more operational complexity?
So, product data, it's just not a data problem. That's what we believe, and that's what we know. It's just not product data problem. It's also a problem. It's a workflow or an operational problem. Now, most of the organizations we work with and the retailers or manufacturers, whether it's retailers, manufacturers, or suppliers, brands, they all have invested already in a lot of big platforms for ERP systems, PIM systems, CMS, commerce systems, digital asset management systems, etc. So the problem is not that they don't have systems. The issue is that despite having so many platforms where they've invested, there's still a lot of manual effort that's required. Now, when a product manager decides or a category head decides to launch a certain set of products, it has to move from one stage to the other stage. There are multiple steps that are taken across. Now, we have built Merchandiser Plus platform as an orchestration or an operational layer that sits between the supplier data, the supplier source of data, and until it gets published on the manufacturer's website, on your website, on the downstream systems. So it is in sync with all of these platforms. These platforms, and Merchandiser Plus is a very lightweight platform that is usually owned by the business. Now, if you speak with the business, they have platforms, but if they want to make a small change to the processes, they want to add a business rule, a validation rule, or something, they have to invest a lot of time with these big platforms. Now, Merchandiser Plus gives them that authority, that power, that strength to implement these changes as quickly as possible. Now, what happens when you ingest a product data from multiple sources? And I said earlier as well, it could be inconsistent, it could be in various data models, it could be in different formats. All of this has to be validated against some certain business rules. They need to get transformed, they need to get enriched, they need to identify gaps, which was being done manually previously. But Merchandiser Plus allows them to automate all of this. You are now able to trigger the enrichment program, the launch program for your products, which will help you automatically source information from various sources automatically, enrich, then able to normalize or standardize, transform that information into the way that you need from your platform, from your systems, then identify gaps, and then route those through the governance workflows. Now, this platform will automatically first enrich and then let the subject matter experts, the enrichment teams, understand what's missing. So now these teams, the experts, are not investing a lot of time in finding the issues. They're actually spending time in resolving those. Subject matter experts are not doing the repetitive task every day, the same thing, which they should ideally not be doing at all. All the repetitive tasks, all the things that can be done through an AI or through an automation or through a platform is done automatically. And now they're investing more time, spending more time in resolving the important ones, taking the strategic decisions. The PMs today, they know where in the process the product lies. They understand the reporting, the dashboarding, the visualization of all the information that we have in Merchandiser Plus allows the product managers to understand where is my product in the launch process and how do I make sure it speeds up. So the outcome typically for Merchandiser Plus is higher product data quality, faster supplier catalog or supplier onboarding, and quicker time to market. All of this being done with less, or I should say, with less operational effort, and with no introduction, or sorry, not introducing of any of the layer of complexities. Because every time you implement a platform, you will realize people will say, oh, it's a new platform, more complex, more things to learn. But as I said, it's a lightweight platform, UI-based platform where people can ramp up in a week or so, and they can start using it from day one and get going. So that's how Merchandiser Plus helps the teams